Hi, Troy McGinnis, deliverytower.com, continuing our journey on looking at the current developer productivity analytics tools. In this case, we're going to look at DX. Let's get started. So DX, I'm pretty certain they were the company that was acquired by Jira, Atlassian. Been around for a while. Looking at the homepage, again, hero image, developer intelligence for the AI era. Don't want to be left behind, so they're looking at AI augmented engineering delivery, demos. We're going to hear from a couple of their companies which use them, and an interview of how they're measuring developer performance, or how they were measuring developer performance. What do they highlight here? Developer experience, see how developers work, where they get stuck, reduce friction, boost satisfaction, productivity, AI measurement, tracking AI adoption, AI enablement, the AI Copilot for engineering leaders. So they're positioning for the leadership to track and manage the delivery of work. All right, let's have a look at the product pages. Developer experience. Gee, they've segmented this down quite a lot. I wonder if we can look at the platform overview. So similar to the other products, what they do is they connect to all sorts of your platform tools, and they ingest it into a single data lake view, which they can do analytics on. Benchmark against competitors. Yeah, I mean, as long as the competitors are you're comparing apples with apples, enrich data without context, get more done with AI, track effectiveness, and here's some good companies that you want to be like them. I don't think I got a lot out of that, to be honest. So let's have a look at the DX Core. Measure developer productivity. The DX Core is a unified framework for measuring, which combines Dora, Space, and DevX. So they're gone down the Dora and the Space route. So they're looking at the pull request throughput, and then comparing you against the industry. So, whoa, you're a little bit above the industry. Quality, change file rate, and impact innovation ratio. They come up with some of those terms. So call for create shared view, see how you compare, benchmarking organizations, understanding performance levels, local iteration speed. So yeah, okay, they're at least giving, hopefully they've got a set of different drivers which make sense to lots of companies, and they're helping you sort of see where you sit against the industry. At a team by team level, again, you don't want to be comparing apples and watermelons for size and speed, and they're very different items. And again, different teams here will have different needs. Get to the root cause. So they're doing some analysis. Want to explore more? Get a demo. Okay, let's look at team dashboards. Metrics and alerts for frontline teams. Well, seems useful. PR review time. Not a fan of doing scatter plots of this sort of data. And especially I'm not a fan of putting a single target line and sort of saying that these two pull requests took too long to review, or too long to get started to review. Unless there is a way of segmenting them based on value or urgency or priority, it might have been a good thing that they didn't get reviewed straight away. They were left in the queue while something more important was done. So yeah, this is a very old style of visualization of this stuff. I'm not sure. It's useful if you can hover over these items and see the details of them. But again, really what they're drawing your attention to is these two, which took a long time to get started. And you might want to know why. Track work in real time. So it pulls the data out of Jira or GitHub. So yeah, it gives you a live view of progress. Yeah, I guess I guess that's sort of useful. Where it's going to head is the fact that there's always going to be multiple tools used, and some teams are going to use your pull requests are in GitHub and your issues are in Jira. So yeah, it's just sort of celebrating a feature that's sort of necessary for the product to exist, and then you can send alerts to where the teams sit. Great. Not a lot of pull request cycle time, work in progress for pull requests. Yeah, you can build your own custom dashboards. Again, that's when you're doing sales, it's the way of removing objections by sort of saying, okay, you got this report you currently use, you can generate that report here in DX. What else can we look at? SDLC analytics, pull request cycle time. Again, assuming that lower is better, even though their hero image is showing an increasing trend. Maybe that's right. Time to first approval going down. That's good, showing where the industry is at. Time to first review. As long as you can segment this stuff by urgency or by value or by something that makes sense to compare and see a declining trend on, then that's possibly useful. Merge to deploy, 4.2 hours. Benchmarking. So it seems like what they're doing is they're doing a lot of benchmarking against their industry data, which is probably just everyone using their tool, and they just anonymize it and come up with the average. So I don't think they're getting data anywhere else. This is a good thing. Correlations. So they're able to sort of say change fail rate percentage. It's hard to tell on this implementation because it's on this website because they're very artistic cutouts. AI measurement, strategic planning, usage and analytics, impact analysis, workflow optimizations. Some of these look good. I think strategic planning is going to be prioritize code throughput, review turnaround. Yeah, I mean, it's trying to sort of say, okay, so here what they've done is they've done some ML model that's coming soon. Okay, so this is coming soon to them. But what it tries to do is look at the task and then match it to which agent they should be sending it to. I think it's, all work is going to go to an agent. What is going to make one match better than another? It's probably more which parts of a change can go to the AI automation and which part should be done manually. And which type of work should be really carefully reviewed. Very difficult to tell here from where they've headed. But they're trying to get it so that you can just push it off. As long as there's some way of this process learning over time, that we sent unit test writing for the payment service to Agent QA bot, if it then had a lot of failures, I would want to know why and not send it to that same QA bot next time. So as long as that's a learning process, then I'm okay with that. Merge rate. Again, this non-AI users. It's the first time I've seen it here. It's going to disappear, right? And it's sort of more of the model that's used rather than whether AI is used at all and which parts. AI is going to be used somewhere in every feature that's being delivered. So it's not a binary. It's going to be how much and where and did we like it? AI code metrics. Suggestions accepted. Code retention rate. Lines modified. So they look like they're showing which ones were done by humans, which ones were done by AI. Interesting to see how they managed to arrive at that data. If it was accepted from AI, it must be marked as AI. We're not in a world anymore which is just accepting AI suggestions. We're using agents to develop and generate the code and review it. So in 2025, this made sense. In 2026, it makes less sense. In 2027, it makes no sense. AI code retention rate, same as last month. Line level metrics. user written, AI written, track both AI giving details. Yes, that's what we just looked at. Looks like there's, again, probably whatever you approve, but like it's, yeah, I mean, you would never, whoever this developer is, you would never manually hard code the tax rate. That just seems like a bad idea. And the magic number here, I don't think AI would come up with that either. So that's a fake example. Refactoring, AI lines overwritten, discarded. Again, this all comes from that, the cursor in the early GitHub Copilot days where it showed sections of code and you hit accept or remove. That's not the way the world is heading in agentic engineering. It's setting up, it's passing it off to an agent and coming back with a set of results. You don't really accept at a line or a section level now. You more accept at a file, or you more sort of say, that whole thing was a bad idea. I'm going to go back and reprompt. And I'm not sure that that's sort of there. Again, visibility into which tools are being used. That was a 2025, 2026 problem that's not going to be there in 2027. The model matters more than the framework. And I know, bear with me, I know that sometimes the framework matters, but even within the framework, you really want to know what model was used. Governing, I guess if the code review tool you're using is checking for security-related issues, quality concerns, potential downstream impacts, that's valid. I'm not sure if they have their own model doing this or if it just builds into the CodeRabbits or whatever tool you're currently using. Not a lot there that we can sort of see. Developer experience, AI measurement, and AI enablement. Here we go. Scorecards. Let's have a look at scorecards. Measure and improve service health. Test coverage. Lint checks, runs. So it seems to be more just setting up evaluation rules of when we see something in the data lake that matches this, then raise an alert and alarm. Again, a way of, I imagine companies could go crazy in doing this sort of stuff. Track progress, monitor improvements over time, make outliers clear. Gold, silver, bronze. I guess that means the team which is doing good, not so good, and lesser good. Hard to tell from what they have here. And again, you can get a demo, but you can't sort of see a demo. I don't know what else they have here, which is useful. AI readiness. Okay, okay, so they're looking to see that different projects have certain binary blockers from being able to use AI effectively. Do they have an agents MD file? Do they actually have CI/CD pipelines set up, service configurations, and driving architectural changes? Yeah, I mean, pretty crude though, right? You can set up guardrails so that if your AI generated code triggers any of these guardrails, it will highlight it for more review. Again, without knowing the details or how you sort of set that up, it's hard to sort of know. True throughput is an interesting one. It looks like what they've done here is, if you used points, you would be able to see how big a pull. Not all pull requests are going to be equal in size. So if you use lines of code, you can sort of say that this pull request was huge, so we should account for more throughput than a smaller pull request. At least that's what I'm thinking it's doing. It's the amount of software delivered. It's the amount of line codes changes, not just the number of changes. So I guess what this come from was when they looked at just pull requests, not all pull requests were built equal, and they were getting alerts based on the fact that a team has a really small pull request throughput compared to another team. That's because their pull requests were smaller in size. So they had more, or larger in size, and they had less. And this is a way of normalizing it. And this is the points and throughput problem moved across to pull requests. Not a fan, really, because again, without knowing the value of the pull request that's being delivered, I'm not sure that encouraging people to do more pull requests or make them, and then reward them for making them bigger, being the right behavioral change I want to do. But I can see it was a way of trying to close the gap comparing Team A versus Team B when they did very different styles of pull request changes. Again, it just comes out of the feeling of the need to be able to compare teams against each other to try and work out who's doing well and who's doing bad, where it's really contextual. I would, instead of that, what I try and do with Delivery Tower is sort of say, out of the things that the team is putting through pull requests, are we reducing the amount of friction in doing the pull request review? And are we reducing the regrets of having defects and extra work born out of once merging that, and trying to drive those two numbers down? And then trying to upfront make sure they choose the right work to create pull requests for it all. And this type of developer performance is not adding to any of that. It's just encouraging it's Intercom is telling us here we got 20% more developer productivity. Did you get 20% more customer value, or were those features what customers wanted? Was there any business outcome to having that 20% improvement of productivity? I'd have to read the full story, but this headline alarms me at the fact that we're saying that more pull requests, and even if they're large, means that we're winning using AI, and that's not what I think is true. Again, compare AI users to non-AI users. There won't be any non-AI users, and even now I don't think there are any non-AI users. There's just partial AI users, or where the tool has miscategorized it. Usage analytics. Yeah, again, it matters to me which model they use. So this chart is useful for a very small point in time. For a company that's currently not using AI engineering, and you're trying to see which teams aren't able to use any of the AI coding tools to do their work. And there might be good reasons why they can't yet. But the measure you really want to do is sort of saying, are you investing in removing the barriers to using AI to deliver your work? So AI adoption to me is removing the barriers to the teams being able to use AI, not just giving them a rubber stamp or a gold medal when they actually use AI, because otherwise I'll just say they're using it and use it ineffectively. And again, looking at active users, not sure that matters. It matters how you're using it. So with that, again, absolutely no pricing here for me to give you. I don't know what research they have measuring AI coding assistants and agents, measuring developer productivity. It's all Dora and space and related. I'm not seeing anything here which is, what's the impact analysis? This is trying to help the person that brought in DX say that it was really valuable bringing in DX. This type of feature is really useful if you're trying to make sure that you get the companies to not churn, because you're giving them a dashboard of how much using DX is saving them over a year. And I think they do the same thing by using AI. But again, I just don't think that's a valuable measure of that's got any use in 2027, and it's even really not got a lot of use now. So yeah, all in all, this seems to be the most highly artistic website. Not entirely sure that there's not enough to tell without getting a demo. And I think if they don't put the pricing and you got to be shown by a person how to use it, it's not going to be inexpensive. So all in all, I'm, good on them for getting into these organizations. I don't think they're doing a very good job at the moment of moving into the AI engineering world, even though they're saying they are. They're pretty light on features to sort of say that a company is using AI effectively. They're just at the moment stuck in the point of saying the companies are using AI at all, and I think that's going to cause some churn.